With Meshell as she talks about life. Everyday people just trying to make it through life. Keep it 100 with Meshell as she talks about life.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Keep It 100 with Meshell.A. Oh, that was so animated. But anyway, I want to welcome you to the show. I am super excited about this topic on tonight. We are going to be talking about manipulation. Have you been manipulated? Are you the manipulator? Let the church say, huh? So we're gonna talk about. I'm excited. I have Apostle Flowers and his wife, and I love bringing them to the show because they're very transparent. And I'm fully loaded, which I know that they are fully loaded with me. But I want you guys to take a minute, and we want you to hit that share button and share it out to your community. I want you to share it out to someone who you know or you may think know is a manipulator. We're going to talk about support. What does your support system look like? Are they manipulating you to get what they want? This is going to be so good. I cannot wait. And also, I want you guys to know that our show now, we receive stars. Yes. I was just saying, I've been doing this for a long time and it just don't make no sense. Ain't nothing coming out of it. And I woke up one morning, I looked at the bottom of the screen and there were stars. So just like you are able to hit a heart or you're able to give a thumbs up, you're able to give a star. Now, what you can do is you can go, once you hit the star, it's going to say, hey, you can get like, I guess, 300 stars for 99 cents. And guess what? I get paid. Yes. I'm so hyped. I'm so sorry. But if you will do me a favor and if you will push some stars on tonight's show, like that would really, y'all know I ain't working, but that would really help me out. That would really help me out a little bit. I'm just so super excited that I finally got to the place where, you know, I can get paid for doing my Facebook Lives. And I don't have thousands of views, but it don't even matter. You hit a star and that money is going to come right to me. Yes. Okay. Anyway, all right. Apostle, you see me, don't you? You see me up here acting up. I'm just going to bring you guys to the stage. And again, I want you guys to share this message.
Amen.
I'm super excited.
Yes.
So what I want you guys to do, I want to first of all welcome you to my platform again, but I want you to take and let everybody know who you are and where you guys are from and the name of your church.
Yes. I'm Apostle Flowers. Our church is in Laurel, Delaware. We live in Bridgeville, Delaware. The name of our church is Family Enrichment and Deliverance Center. This is my awesome wife. And you can go and introduce yourself.
I'm Pastor Ruth Flowers.
And this month, end of this month, we will be married for 40 years.
40 years.
Good God. Yes.
Yes. October the 30th, we'll be married for 40 years. I remember when she first saw me and she fell in love and she just
he said you fell in love.
Yeah, she did not. She sweated and she didn't know what to do with herself. And
I can't stand you already. So yes. Wait, okay. So I'm glad that you shared that. I'm glad because you let anybody that's viewing, you know that this show, I'll go any direction. But I'm just curious now that you said 40 years. I mean, I know my mom and my dad have been married about going on 50 years, you know, so yeah. How in the heck do you stay with one person that, I mean, what? Talk to me.
It was tough at the beginning because one of the things we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks is about culture clashes. Culture clashes is not just racist, it's where people have learned a mode of doing something and just is settled for it. And so at the beginning, I came from a different culture. She did. I didn't understand a whole lot of things. But what helped us?
And we had the culture class.
Yes. But what helped us to maintain through these years is that we became students of one another, not just physically, not just emotionally, not just mentally, and not just spiritually. because
And we had to unlearn some things
absolutely,
and relearn some things.
absolutely. And I kind of hate to say this because I know some may misunderstand this.
I'm
The,
listening.
the, church, the church foundation was a good basis, but it wasn't the thing that kept us together. Because a lot of people stay together because they're Christians, but they still don't like each other.
Yeah.
We stayed together because we grew together to love one another, not as believers, but as human beings that invested in one another as human beings. And that made us better as Christians. And so that may sound strange. Some may think, no, you become better Christians and better spouses. No, you don't get in the way as Christians when you become better spouses. And so we learn to become better spouses, learn to be students of one another. We learn to listen and stuff. And when we learn to listen, we learn to respond. And what she said and what I said to her had influence on our behavior.
Okay, so I'm piggybacking off of what you looking at me like I don't know what you're gonna say. All right, so I'm just piggybacking off of what you just said. So are you telling me it is possible to be married and not like each other?
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
One of the things we were talking about this to the church on the other day, and the Lord had brought this back to my mind. This COVID was one of the best things for truth. And I'm not saying
It
as far as
forced you to do it.
It forced. What happened was this COVID forced people who did not like each other to stay home with one another, so that they would respond in the right way when COVID lifted. They lied to one another when they were in the homes because they didn't learn the skills of being able to listen and respond to one another. But they were forced to stay in that same house. Before COVID came, they could go on a job and escape. They could go out somewhere to escape. There was many places they could go to escape. But COVID forced them to face the demons of dislike, frustration. And what's that word you like to use? Those contentions or those dissensions in the home. There are underlying behaviors that manifest dysfunction that nobody else sees, but they know they're there. And they come out in words sometimes that they don't explain, don't take responsibility for, but the other one get hurt for it. And so when this COVID hit, it made them lie a little bit. It made them smile only from the face, not from the heart. But when COVID lifted, all of a sudden they says, I'm not smiling from the heart, I'm gonna do my own thing. And each realized we don't like each other that much. But now we don't invest so much time, we're gonna stay together because we don't invest at this time.
Wow, that's powerful. Anything you want to say, Mother?
Well, I disagree with him. It made you really evaluate what you had in a marriage.
Absolutely.
It made you really evaluate, am I with them because I'm saved? Am I with them because if I backslide, if I left them, would I backslide from the Lord? So I just stay in the safe place.
Wow.
And that's what happened with a lot of marriages. They remained there because it was a safe place. It became a way of life, but it wasn't a way of love. And where there's no love and kindness, that's some problems.
Or pastor, someone stayed because, and we talk about manipulation control, someone stayed because they knew they were the only caretaker that could help that person get to the ministry that they were getting. They didn't like the person. They just liked the ministry. So they said, I'm going to stay here because I don't want God to get upset with me because if I leave, this person won't get the height of the ministry that they're in. So they stay there for ministry and not for marriage or not for relationship.
Well, that was good. That was powerful. That was powerful. Okay, so let's go into the topic. And the topic, we're actually talking about manipulation. And we're talking about it being in your support system. But most people really don't know what support is supposed to look like. So let's just talk about that part right there. What is support? What does support look like in a relationship? Or now when I say relationship, because I know you guys are experts in relationship. So I want you to talk about relationships. But when I look at relationship, I look at it holistically in the church, in the marketplace, in the family. So as you respond, I want you to talk about it like that. What is support supposed to look like?
A support system in any family setting, any kind of setting, matter of fact, where there's a connection should look like that person should be able to express who they are, and not just who they are that pleases you or make you feel happy. Even express who they are, even if it doesn't make you feel happy, and even though it may look like they may be going the wrong way. A support system doesn't say you have to; it says, "What can I help you to get to where you need to get to?" One of the things that if you want to say something before, one of the things that kind of jumped in my mind when we start thinking about this control and manipulation, Ahab when you first brought this up to me about this, Ahab kept running through my mind. And one of the greatest misconceptions we have about Ahab is that his name defines weakness, and it doesn't. His name does not define, and it doesn't define dumbness. It doesn't define that he was controlled by the spirit that they always call Jezebel. If we really take a look at Ahab, Ahab was a king manipulator. He was a controller. Ahab knew, and here's the key thing we have to watch about those who are manipulators and how they manipulate our life is, what are they asking you to do that only brings glory to them and puts you in a bad position? What Ahab did was, when Ahab found out that there was something that he could not control, he knew that his wife was a strong-willed woman. She would start a fight even if it wasn't hers. She'd cuss you out, wouldn't care. She'll fight, she didn't care about whether it hurt you or not. So what he did was, when he found out that he could not get the yard that he wanted, he went into his bedroom, laid on his bed, and cried loud enough for Jezebel to hear it. Because he knew if he could get her riled up, she'd go do something. She'd go and take care of something. He didn't have, although he was king, he didn't have enough in him to go do what it took. But he knew, he knew she was. So he went in and he cried loud enough for her to hear, and she came in and stuff. She said, Ahab, what's the matter with you? Ain't you king? He said, I want that piece of land. The neighbor wouldn't sell it to me and stuff. She said, well, ain't you king? Ain't you king? She realized the only thing she could do was make him remember it, but not do nothing in it. And stuff. Manipulators say, I can't do nothing in it, but I can get her to do something about it. Or I can get the person I manipulate to do something about it. Manipulators will use your dysfunction to their benefit. So he understood, if I can get her riled up, she'll go out there and she'll do something to the neighbor, and I'm gonna end up with that land because she's just that kind of fighter. I don't have to fight. Absolutely.
So you look, got me stuttering. I gotta say, you start in trouble, right? Like, I'm listening to what you just said, and even though you were just quoting the scripture and telling the story, how much of that is being done in relationships?
Absolutely.
Across the board.
Absolutely.
In the homes, in friendships. I'm upset with her, but I can't fight her. But I know my girlfriend Lucy, she got an attitude, so I'm gonna get my girlfriend all wound up with her, and Lucy's gonna go fight her on my behalf.
And I was always Lucy. I was Lucy.
Fighting for somebody else's behalf.
Yes.
And not even realizing that I was being manipulated.
Absolutely.
Because most of the time we don't know the signs. Yeah. If it is a person who operates in that spirit, would you say it is a spirit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So being a person that would operate in that spirit, do you think but do you think that is what you're doing to another individual?
Oh, absolutely.
The manipulator, do you think they know? Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
I would think so. Because they have to get their plan together. They have to strategize how I'm gonna get him or her to do what I want them to do in the way that I want them to do it. But my hands remain clean. So I think out of respect, really out of respect, y'all two get on my nerves right now. Because y'all listen and y'all letting these people have it in a nice way. Because what we're really trying to do is, I think the last time we met, we were talking about the underlying layers, things like that. And that's the stuff that lies on the inside of us. And it just comes up out of nowhere. And it's kind of like, I got a stone in my hand and I really want to throw it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand behind so-and-so and I'm going to chunk the stone and make it look like it's the other person. Or either I will encourage that other person to throw the stone, but really it was me. Talk about it. Yeah.
It's like the people who are in church who tells them, listen, pastor doesn't do this, and I don't know why they don't do it and stuff, but it looks like they'll always listen to you. So why don't you go to him, or at least go to one of his deacons and stuff, or if you're good friends with his wife, say that to his wife, because I try to say it to him, but they wouldn't listen to me. But if you go to their wife and you say it to their wife, you can have the wife bring it up to him, and maybe they can convince him to do something that he would not ordinarily do. Then he goes to his wife, or she goes to his wife, or vice versa, and they start having problems. And you stand back as a manipulator and say, "I knew they were having problems anyway. I knew what that marriage was all said it was supposed to be. I don't know this. I don't know what's going on, but I knew something was wrong." Manipulators like to stand back and have you fighting battles that's not yours. But here's the problem: Manipulators go after people who are fixers.
Yeah.
They go after because they know fixers can always
Yep.
employ fixers to do jobs that's
Yep.
not theirs.
Yep.
It's not their job. It's not their responsibility. It's out of their lane.
Yeah.
If you ever find yourself always fighting a battle for someone, and that other person never comes out with any scars, you're being manipulated.
You'll be a minute.
If they never get hit by anything, and you're the one that's always being hit,
Yeah.
they are manipulating
manipulating.
you. We have to be honest with ourselves when it comes to relationships and churches. Some of these battles are not mine, and
That's
everybody
not
who
my
cries
battle.
weak is not weak. They
Not
just
my
want to
battle.
use you.
Yep.
I mean, what the heck am I supposed to say after that, Apostle? I mean, so because I was gonna ask the question. Listen, I've never been on my own show stuttering, and I've stuttered about 4 times a while ago. I mean, because it's stuff that I know. And and sometimes I sit back and I just see people. I'm a watcher. That's one thing I do know, that I'm a watcher. And I just sit back and I listen to people say stuff and do stuff. And then I look at the people that they're saying it to, and I'm just like, they just manipulated you out of all of your money, your offering, or they just manipulated you out of your car. And this is also what I be thinking. How was you that dumb to miss it? So I'm not going to say dumb, so I'll snatch the word dumb back. So explain to me how people don't know, because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I'm listening, and I'm like, you were literally being manipulated right now. And then I see the people like yes, and then they do what they do. So what? It's kind of like, I need $500, but I'm not going to ask you for $500, but I'm going to set up 25 scenarios so that you'll be manipulated into giving me 500. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you going?
Yes. One of the things I don't do it. I got it on my what you call it when you write out who you are in your bio on my page is that if you ask me for a friendship and we don't even communicate, and the first thing when we communicate, you give me a charity that you're trying to support, I realize you're trying to manipulate me. If you can't say hello to my face before you touch my pocket, you're not gonna get my heart.
That's right.
So I'm realizing you're trying to go past my heart. You're trying to go past who I am, and you're trying to get to something that you want. Manipulators will bypass it. Here's the thing, it's just so amazing that you came up with this subject, because the Lord also said this. The problem with the church is that we're talking and people are listening, but we're not paying attention. The only thing we have is their ears. Manipulators don't care if all they have is your ear, if they can just get past your will. If they can get past your will and make you do something, yes. If they can get past your will and make you do something that you would not do if you use good sense, if they can get you past using common sense and not feel guilty that you're responsible for whatever they're trying to give you, they can use you for something they want. What we have to do in our relationships, listen beyond what they're saying. Don't just listen while they're talking. Listen after the conversation is over.
And see them for who they are and not who they say they are.
Absolutely.
So what you saying? Wait, let me say this real quick. Okay, so people are definitely leaving comments. I just pulled it up, but it's something wrong with StreamYard tonight, so it's not allowing me to flash out their comments. So I do apologize for that. That's not nothing on my part. Y'all know I normally would be putting apologize. Putting the comments up, so they are leaving comments on the bottom. So as a manipulator, then you're saying I know exactly what I'm doing, and because I feel, I'm just putting in my own words, I feel like you are a weak-minded person, then I'm going to use you to get my own gain. So can this go into relationships?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
I hear something there.
Listen, one of the key things that we have to have, and let me say this first to women, love who you are at whatever moment you're that.
Yes.
If you care about who you are, nobody can make you feel guilty about being that.
Yes.
One of the greatest things, one of the greatest defenses we have to have, and I kind of hesitate to use this. If you're a heavyset woman, you may not feel that good about being heavyset. There is a manipulator out there knows that you don't feel good about your weight. They know that. So what they will do is they will tell you all the things that you don't believe, but that you need to hear. Even though we don't take it, even though that woman may not take it no further than her ears, she still likes to hear it. She still may not trust him that he means what he's saying, but she still likes to hear it. If he says it enough, she will be convinced that he means it, despite the fact that she still doesn't believe it for herself.
So
okay, me and a God, real quick. Okay, so do you believe? And it's women out there too. I used to be one of them. I ain't gonna sit there and lie. It's women out there too. So do you believe? And I've been manipulated a lot and didn't even know it because I was so needy and I was so vulnerable and I wanted attention and it didn't matter who it came from. So do you believe that most manipulators, they wait for an individual? Is that this is what I'm seeing. It's like they are a lion or a tiger and they're waiting. They're just waiting to attack. So do you believe that manipulators will come after people when they are at their lowest moment?
Absolutely.
They are at their most vulnerable moment and then they pounce.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
You know, there is one thing that is happening on Facebook. You find a lot of manipulators that are trolling around women that they feel have low self-esteem. And when they find them, they will inbox them and begin to talk to them and act like they want to be in a relationship with them and all have to bring them to a point of thinking of themselves of value. You know, never let somebody else give you your value. Know your own value.
Absolutely.
Because if they give you your value, then they'll take it and manipulate you because you have a need for them to give you a value. But they go around to your inboxes and they begin to go into the inboxes and talk all this noise, and all of a sudden you all are on the phone and you're in some type of a relationship, and next thing you know, I love you, and you know
You almost married.
yeah, but you can't go to their page. You know, they won't say that you are in a relationship with them on their page. They won't say too much to you outside of your inbox, but they begin to talk with you and make you afraid that they're going to break off the relationship with you if you ask them, well, how come we can't be friends on your page? Or ask them, how come you won't acknowledge me openly? We talk a lot behind, the scenes. They won't ask those things because their self-esteem is so low that they need that.
Absolutely.
They need that. And so they just allow themselves to be manipulated. Oh, by the way, I need $50. I don't have 50. Well, do you have 20?
Wow.
Well, if you don't have 20, that's all right. That's why I get it. I get it from somebody else. And because you're afraid that they're talking to somebody else, or they might begin to go in another direction, you're going to find $20, even if you have to borrow it from your family.
Can I tell you a key how these
Yeah.
men get these women and stuff, and how they find these women? And we don't use it. We don't really think about this, but women need to be more protective, and men need to be more protective. But when you look on a woman's page and she's photoshopped her photos,
Oh yeah.
and one photo looks like a model, but she forgot to delete the ones that she hadn't photoshopped, and they show her just who she is. A manipulator looks and says, if she's confident in who she is, why does she need to Photoshop? And I'm not putting it.
I never say I do some Photoshop. Wait a minute. Go ahead. You got it.
He looks at this and he says, why does she need to Photoshop? Does she feel? And he won't know. Now, doesn't mean she has low self-esteem, but he will try to find out, is she Photoshopping because this is her desired image and she's uncomfortable with that image? And if he digs deep enough to find out that that's her desired image and she doesn't like that other image, then he's in. Then he goes after by saying, you don't need to be this because I accept you that. And she, again, yes, as you are. She needs to hear this. And again, the more he says it, the more she believes that he means it. But she still hasn't accepted. She still doesn't feel comfortable. But she still needs to hear that. So in order to keep that being said, she lets him pull from her what's necessary to keep his mouth going towards her, even if she never has his heart. So what women, I encourage women to do, if you want to Photoshop, but make sure you let those who come on your page and come in your inbox understand, baby, I'm just doing this because I like this look, but I enjoy the look of the other one as well.
I'm going to go to all my pictures and Photoshop them all nailed and make sure everything is even. Yeah. But and I said that to be funny, but I don't have a lot of people I used to, but I don't have a lot of men in my inbox anymore. I don't know whether I intimidate them. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Here's the problem. when men don't see women doing anything, they believe they can employ them to do something. But when they start to do something and identify with the value that they do something, whether the society or this culture wants to admit it, men get intimidated. They understand I cannot come up to this woman any kind of way because she can see past my foolishness, she can see past my games and stuff, and she will call me out. And so that will cause foolish men, that will cause weak men, that will cause men with game to back up and never come into your inbox.
So listen, I didn't know we was gonna go this way. I didn't, but you started saying that. Okay, so as you was talking, it reminded me a couple months ago of a young man that said I got watch what I said because I was supposed to do much. But anyway, he said that the Lord told him I was his wife. And so he started coming to our church. Right. So I don't know. I'm just the type of individual. If the Lord ain't told me nothing, I'm not giving you no kind of advice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I do desire to get married, but then because I didn't, I got some funny ways with myself. So I didn't want to be being stubborn to the Lord. So I did entertain the phone conversation, but I did not give him any inkling that, oh, we're going to be a couple, or, oh, I was more so trying to use discernment because I wanted to see what the catch was. I wanted to see, you know, and I put myself out there, but I'm hoping I help some people, you know, who may be going through the same thing. And so I watched him because I'm used to this. I'm used to people coming in. The Lord said, you my wife. The Lord said we supposed to be. I'm so used to that. So I'm sitting back, but I'm also wise enough to know that I don't want to put myself too far out there, and then I don't want to put too many walls up if it is. And listen, I listened, and he kept the stuff that he wanted to give me. I wouldn't take anything. He wanted to go out to dinner. I wasn't gonna let him. He wanted to come to my house. Lord, the devil is a liar. You're not coming to my house. You know what I mean? Like, you're not coming to my house. And so, you know, in our conversation, I guess he must thought that I was a materialistic person because people could think that, but no, I'm not. You know, I'm not. And I kept saying, well, I'm not material. I'm used to being poor. I'm used to being broke. So I'm not saying that that's the way I want to be, but what I'm saying is the gifts and stuff that don't do anything for me. And I say, you know, I'm looking for someone who can pray for me. I'm looking for someone who can encourage me. You know, it's hard to find a true man of God. And so that's what I was looking for. Do you know the next day he was saying, can we pray together before we get off the phone? So all of a sudden, everything became like where he wanted to be spiritual, but I didn't get that in the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so instead of turning me on, it irritated the crap out of me because you're trying to manipulate me into this relationship. And it's pissing. I'm sorry. It's upsetting me. And it actually began to push me even farther back simply because I could feel like you're trying to manipulate me with money. Well, I'm not going to take your money, even though I need it. I'm not going to take your money simply because if I take your money, then you want something else about it. I'm not going to let you, you know, get me cornered up so you can play your mind game with me. And now I'll end up in fornication. No, we're not doing that. You're not getting the cookies. You ain't. You know what I mean? And so I was like, this dude, as strong as a person as I am, he's trying to manipulate me simply because he knows I desire marriage and I desire it the right way. But first of all, boo boo, I'm not one of them silly women. You know what I mean? I'm just not willing to accept anything. So I just share that to say, you know, with all those people who may be coming and saying, God said you are the one. And sometimes they will manipulate you because listen, a man is a watcher and he will watch.
Absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? And then he will wait for his moment to bounce on you.
Absolutely. He used two stages that manipulators do. First, he wants to make you think that his word was God's word and you don't need to ask God because he said it for God.
Yes.
So if he comes, manipulators come and say, you're my wife. So he don't want you to question God about it. Just take his word as if it's from God.
He didn't even know the scriptures. So, you know, he was messing up the scriptures and he was a whole pastor. But anyway, go ahead with what you were saying.
And the second was, if he can make you obligated from a need to him.
Yeah.
then he can go ahead and try to draw you back in.
Mhm.
But here's the thing that I hear so many times. So many people will say that if you're going to get married, put down all your walls. If God sends the one to you and he's really the one, he'll melt those walls.
Mhm.
When I first met her, when I first,
That was
all
good.
she really did fall in love with me, and she didn't know what to do with herself. Matter of fact, I think you were fanning her back then, all that kind of stuff.
No.
But
I can't stand him. She was
When I
weak.
met him,
no, don't tell no fib now.
when I met him, I ran. I ran like a jackrabbit. My sister introduced us.
No, I'm not talking about. No, I'm not talking about when we went to the park. I'm talking about when we was in the church and you saw me back.
Don't try to manipulate her. I want to hear you ran. What did you run from?
She said,
No, I didn't think. I met you when I saw you when I came into the door of the church. I was standing in the back of the church. I've been seeking the Lord about a husband, and I came into the church. I stood in the back of the church. When I stood in the back of the church, the Lord said, "There's your husband." And of course, that's gonna make you nervous. You know, you hadn't even met the man, but you knew even before you said hello that you were gonna marry this man. So that was my little bit nervousness. But after that, when you asked me to the park, you asked me to come to the picnic. I went to the picnic. When I got to the picnic and he came to the table, I jumped up from the table and I ran like a jackrabbit.
She did.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yes. And
I was in a full. I ran down to the swings, grown woman. Ran down to the swings, and I said to myself when I got to the swing, I said, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" My sister came down there to get me.
Oh my God.
She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't know."
and I was gonna leave
And he was
because I
completely-
did not understand. I did not understand my assignment. I thought, as was taught erroneously many times, and we was coming up, that when you meet her, everything is receptive to who you are to her. But I understood as being the one that God sent to find her. It's my job to be the heat in her life, to melt her walls down by making her feel secure in who I would be, not just in who I am, but in who I would be as we engage to understand. We met in August.
We met the last Sunday in August. Our first date, I guess, was Labor Day, which was the next weekend, and we got married October. 30th. Yeah.
So we got married of 88. We met in 82 of August and got married in October of 82.
2 months.
Oh,
2
wow.
months.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
do you think he any time in that relationship he manipulated you? or is he still trying to manipulate you? So listen, real quick, I'm gonna go off because they said something about the comments, so I'm gonna see if I can work on that. But I want you guys to go back to showing us, telling us what does support look like in any relationship, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Pastor Flowers, we're still on. Support system is one of the most unique and most important things when it comes to a relationship. And it cannot be where people are limited in who they are, because we'll never discuss what they can be. We'll never discover what they can be and who they should be and what they've been sent to be in our life. When that is missing in a relationship, someone is manipulating and controlling too much of the person that they're in a relationship with.
You never give that much power over to anybody.
And nobody should want to
ask that much power from you.
Right.
You should, like you said, you should still be you.
Right.
In the midst of that relationship. You know, when people come in to be a support, then that's what that is, a support.
Absolutely.
But when support want to come in and take the rein and drive the car, so to speak, then there's a problem there.
Absolutely.
You should be able to pump the brakes and say, hold up a minute. You should be able to make a statement about something or make a decision. Okay, I'm going to be going in this direction. But if your support system is always wanting to pull you in another direction, other than what the Lord is leading you, or other than what you feel in the unction about going, you need to pump the brakes and say, wait a minute, are you my support or are you my controller?
Absolutely.
And that's why a lot of people don't get the idea to understand that there's a difference between a person that's there to support you versus one who's there to control you.
Absolutely. when there's a strong support system, Pastor Flowers, I believe, especially when it comes to marriage, I believe that we learn how to be encouragers to one another,
Yes, one
even
another.
when the person is having a difficult
Yes.
time. What I mean, I think one of the things that sometimes that's most destructive to a marriage relationship is when someone comes into they get into a relationship or they get into marriage,
This is marriage, right?
they get
Okay.
into marriage, and one expresses or uncovers something in their life
Mhm.
that they either been hurt by,
Mhm.
that they're embarrassed by, or that keeps haunting them or frustrating their life. And then later, the manipulator, who has not completely come into the marriage as a relationship partner, begins to use that against them to get them to do something that they want them to do.
Mhm.
One of the worst things that can be to a relationship is that someone in a relationship uses something against another spouse to get them to do something
Exactly.
that person is either hurt over or
Exactly.
embarrassed about.
So if you're my support system, you're saying that as my support system, you don't hurt me.
No,
You know, even if there's something that I'm doing that you need to talk to me about that could be a damaging to me,
Absolutely.
there's a way that you can reason with me about
Absolutely.
it. You don't come in and be brash and
right.
hurtful and then cause me to put up walls and just
Let me tell you something, Pastor, that just came to mind. I think is one of the most tragic things that could ever happen. Let's say a man meets a woman who's been raped,
yes.
and she's been free enough to express her love to him. They haven't gotten into any sex before marriage, but she's been able to express freely to him. And they get married, and say that first night during the honeymoon, they have a nice sex, and so I'm not trying to be nasty or anything. Just they have nice interaction and so forth and so on. Then after the wedding, the strain of the relationship becomes real to her. And she remembers the last time she had a relationship. And I'm not, just relationship intimacy. And now I'm talking about physical intimacy. I'm talking about emotional intimacy, where you feel free and safe enough to be around somebody. The last time she was like that, the person took advantage of her and raped her. So now all of a sudden that becomes a reality to her. Now he reaches for her and he can't touch her or reach her or find her. And he questions her to find out, well, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And then after a whole lot of questions, she finally breaks down and says, I didn't tell you this at the beginning, but I need to answer this question. I'm having issues now. I'm having problems because I'm having the effects. I've been raped, and I've not only been raped one time. I've been raped several times, and this relationship and the responsibility of this relationship is bringing some of those feelings back up again. I don't mean to make you a victim of this, but it's a reality in me. And he looks at her and he says, "Okay, well, look, we can work this out." Then time goes on, and months and weeks goes between the time that they have an interaction. And then one time, whether he's frustrated or is going through, he reaches for her intimately, physically, and he goes and she withdraws and stuff. He looks at her and says to her, "Why you withdraw from me? You didn't withdraw from those who."
Oh wow, that's not a support system.
No, that now he's trying to manipulate or control her feelings
And right there, yes.
to make her responsible to respond to what with her body and not her marital relationship and stuff. And that's one of the worst kinds of control and manipulation that any spouse can do to another spouse. When you use something that's injurious or that breaks them or that has them locked up in a cage and stuff, and try to make them feel obligated to respond to you in a place that they cannot go fully in. And one of the worst things that a husband or wife can do is accept part of that person when you got married to a whole person. But because you will not nurture them through this, but attack them with a weapon that they share with you to help them through it, now you break the person, and now you got the person halfway.
I think that was an excellent example. I really do. So I'm gonna actually give you. I'm gonna give out some words, and I want you to let me know whether it's manipulation or whether it's not. And if it is, just give me a scenario of how. Because, like I said, a lot of times people are being manipulated and don't even realize that they're being manipulated. They know something ain't right.
Right.
Can't put their finger on it. I think you said something a while ago about when a person, I'm just paraphrasing because I don't remember the whole thing, but when a person is in a financial need or a person is at a low point at their life, and that other individual is manipulating them to get what they want. And it doesn't have to be money, just anything. Just elaborate on that. Because listen, it's so many people that are, I just want people to just kind of like a light bulb, hey, I may really be being manipulated. Go ahead.
know, one of the manipulations, you have friends and you talk to your friends and things, in life. That was one manipulation that I used to talk to a friend of mine way back in the day. There was this guy that had a reputation of being able to get money from women. He talked to them before you know it. They're almost ready to buy him cars and clothes that he go out with other women with, shoes and all that. Well, he had a way about him. What he would do, we used to call it, he would seed the field, so to speak. And then later on, he'll come and get all the crop. But let's say I give the ad, he will come and give her stuff like a little one of them little candy bars. We call them the fun size.
Like yes.
They'll come give them one of the little fun size candy bars. And he keep coming by, giving her a little fun size candy bar, or drop a Hershey Kiss on her desk. Then one day he come along.
50 cents.
See?
Yes.
And one day he come along, all of a sudden now he want the whole bag of Hershey Kiss. He's in a situation and he really need her help, but now he need a whole bag of Hershey Kiss, not knowing she was being set up. Now she feels obligated because he was giving me the little teeny Hershey Kisses, when he could, and now he needs this here. In other words, he would give her $1. Oh, I'll buy you a soda. Then I'll buy you a soda. All of a sudden, now he wants another car. I need $1,500. Now she's gonna feel obligated because he was always free with buying her lunch, or he was always free with buying her a soda. But now he's got this bill of $1,500. He's looking at her, and he done manipulated her to make her feel obligated to help him get this $1,500.
First lady, you just exposed one of my good friends. You really just did. You exposed him. So listen, okay, well, what about that individual who knows that I say she, because most of the time it's women being in relationship. I'm not saying that men don't, but most of the time it's women that are being manipulated. And again, I go back to what I said earlier, because you don't know your worth, and because you are so needy, and because you're always vulnerable, you are a suspect for them to get. Okay. So what about that individual who knows that I feel like I'm being manipulated, but I like what the individual is doing for me? I don't even know how to get out of it. Or is this manipulation, or is it just me? Talk to that individual.
Sometimes this is not manipulation, or at least it's not manipulation coming at me, but it's manipulation coming from me. Because sometimes I can manipulate myself, convincing that this is better. I'm getting a better
You're
half of this.
manipulating yourself.
No, I'm not going to say that to myself, but I am manipulating myself.
Allowing yourself to be manipulated.
Yes. No, I'm manipulating myself. I'm allowing myself to manipulate myself, convincing myself that I'm getting more out of this than they are. He may get $10 or $15 out of me, or he may convince me to do something that I really don't want to do. But overall, I'm getting what I essentially want from this. And let me show you.
I remember you talked about it one time, about how sometimes you can manipulate yourself so much so that you begin to talk to other people and want them to repeat back to you as if you're in that relationship.
Absolutely.
When in actuality, you're trying to convince yourself
that
it's real.
Absolutely. Let me show you, for instance, a woman lets a man come and live with him, and he won't work. Won't take a bath.
That part.
Won't do nothing. Won't do nothing to better himself.
We call them Bo Weevils.
Bo Weevils. He won't do nothing to better
Looking
himself.
for a home.
And she convinces herself that the reason why I put up with this is because I at least have somebody that I can talk to. I have someone that can protect me. I have someone that is there for me. But here's the reality that all women need to understand. If he won't protect his own integrity, he's not going to protect your life. Now, we can think that just physical presence causes you some kind of protection. And in reality, all it does is cause you a distraction. But here's the question I think all men and women who's in this need to answer is this. And the scripture sometimes is erroneously used when people use this is that, you're supposed to give and not receive nothing back. The scriptures doesn't completely support that when we give to something that can't give nothing back or won't give nothing back. There's a difference between when you give and they can't, then a difference than when you give and they won't. The scripture is not excusing those that you give to and won't give nothing back. it excuses those that you give to and can't give nothing back.
Mhm.
Because the scripture says, give and it should be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together,
Amen.
and should be poured into your
Yeah.
bosom. So when we are on an assignment, so to speak, or we're in somebody's life, somebody's in our life, and they're just taking from us, and we feel obligated because it looks like they cannot give nothing back, you better look deep at that assignment and find out if it's that they can't or if they won't. And if they won't, they're manipulating you and controlling the conditions.
Good God.
Yes.
Good God. All right. So listen. So if I'm a person and I'm always trying to dig for information, can I be a manipulator?
Both, will you say?
I would say yes, because information is power. And why do you want that power? What you're going to do with it? How you going to come back at me with that power that I just gave you?
Okay.
Can I hit on
Yeah,
other
yeah,
end
yeah.
too?
Go ahead.
If you're always digging in for information, what is your need for the information? Are
Exactly.
you using the information to try to cause that person to be something that they're not,
Mhm.
or at least find out what behavior they're doing so you can address it and hope that they'll change? So on both ends, if you're looking for that power, if you're looking for the information to
Yes,
control them
yes.
and stuff to find out what you can make them do, or if you're looking for that information to try to control something to get them to do something.
I always look
Okay.
at people, I always look at people like this here. I want to know how you're going to handle me. I want to know also how you're going to handle what I give you.
Absolutely.
If I see that you've handled what others have given you in a poor way, I'm not giving you nothing.
See, that's why I love her. That's why I love her. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm throwing out a couple words because the people who are viewing, I want you to see either the kind of person that you may be or either the people who are around you. Okay, so people that twist the facts.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it's good. I know, y'all. I know it's good.
It almost deals with this conversation we were that you were bringing up just a while ago. How someone is in a relationship, and you ask the person, said, "How do you feel about how does he feel about the relationship you're in?" Well, he's not the kind of person that's expressive. I think he really wants to be in a relationship with me, but he doesn't really express it because he's been through so much. His last relationship he was in, that girl did it bad, that woman did it bad. He was in a past marriage and stuff, and he did it bad. So he's really not that expressive and stuff. So I'm being patient with him so he can come around and really tell me how he feels. But he shows me a lot of things and stuff, how he feels and stuff. And then you look deeper only to realize that is your conversation and not his. Yeah. Every time you try to get him pinpoint how to define this relationship, he tells you, "Give me time. I'm trying to work it out because I got so many problems." If you're ever in a relationship with somebody that can't find their way to find you, then guess what? It's because they're not looking for you. They're looking for what you can give them. They're looking for what they can get from you. They're manipulating you to try to feed a false fear that they really do not have. They're not afraid of commitment. A lot of these men are not fearful of commitment. They just don't want.
But it has worked.
Yes,
it has worked. It has made women stay with them, hoping that.
Wait a minute, man of God. You done went too far. I know that's your husband, but you done too much, man of God. Okay, so listen. The reason why I say that is because I'm kind of that person. You know what I mean? Like but then again, if I say something, that's what I mean. You know, if I say I'm not ready for a relationship or I'm waiting on God, I'm really waiting on God. And if you choose, and this might sound ignorant, but if you are in a hurry to get in a relationship or you in a hurry to go on with your life, I'm not going to be upset with you if you move on. But I need you to hear what I'm saying, and I need you not to manipulate me to try to like you simply because I'm not. If I say this is how I am, if I give you my time, if I give you my space, you know, I don't go out on dates, but if I give you time on a telephone, then that's something inside of me that say, "Hey, I'm interested. I'm trying to figure out what it is." But I'm not into no subtle movement. Now, if you go and you find somebody else, you're not the one for me. And I don't expect you to wait forever. I don't. I don't expect for you to wait forever. But there are some men who feel like that they can do all of this chivalry and get you to change your mind. Or they can try to make, and women too, Well, you know what? I'm gonna make her. I'm gonna make her. I'm gonna make her jealous so that she'll look at me. You ain't gonna do nothing but piss me off. I'm sorry, I passed.
That's it.
You ain't gonna do nothing but piss me off. And you're gonna let me know that you a dog, and I'm not even gonna look at you at all.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because relationships are not competition. It's a process worked out. If we're in a relationship and then there's a competition, that means you didn't come with the right motive. Because I'm not going to compete against your manipulation.
Yes.
Don't try to make me jealous and then I move off of jealousy and not off a process relationship.
That's it.
You know,
That's
so I'm gonna
right.
hurry up and lock you in because I don't want nobody else to have you. If you're that easy to be gotten, I can chase you for the rest of our relationship.
Yep.
So if you're easy to be that distracted, go on. Go right on. Go on with your bad self. Run after whatever you run after. Because I'm not chasing you throughout this relationship.
But see, and most of the times, you could really mess up, and men and women, not just men, because I don't want them to think I'm man bashing because I'm not. But you could really mess up a genuine friendship.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, women to women, or people in ministry, we mess up a lot of genuine friendships simply because we're trying to manipulate the other people to get what we want.
Absolutely. And you know what else too? On that, sometimes because people want to manipulate and so in a hurry, they don't understand that the season that they're in, this person they're talking to, they may just be their teacher and not their spouse.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will meet people in your life that they need to learn something from you so they can go to where they've been sent. And sometimes when they miss it and stuff because they're so in a hurry to get in a relationship, this has to be my husband. Look, he seems to hit every box, but it's not hitting the box that you're not listening to.
I remember you preached that, and you talked about how so many times people end up marrying their assignment, and not their spouse.
Absolutely.
That was good. Okay. So a person who is always, I don't want to say let's say, who's always trying to do a gesture in a joke. Always try. Well, I bet if so and so did it, then you do it. Then, do you think that's a manipulator?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of truth sometimes in jesting and joking.
Absolutely.
But yes, that's manipulation, trying to get a rise out of you, trying to make you prove to them that you're not like that.
Or what can I do if you do it for them? What can I do to move in the same space to get you to do it for me like you did it for them? So sometimes people are fishing. You know, they're saying it, but they're fishing. They're trying to find a
if I say that to her, it's gonna push a button.
Or what can if you do it for Johnny, but you won't do it for me? Well, the reason why I did for Johnny because such and such. Oh, okay. So if I can put on the same whatever Johnny did, maybe I can manipulate you to do the same thing.
And what exactly did you think I did for Johnny?
Right.
What exactly did you think?
Or
and roll your eyes.
What did you think I did for Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, so emotional blackmail. I didn't come to play tonight, did I? Emotional blackmail. What does that mean? Is that a manipulator?
Yes. We were talking, I think it's a part of it we were talking about in that page. It was talking about emotional blackmail.
You know, a lot of times.
Let me hit, while you look at it, let me look. One of the worst things you can do in developing any kind of relationship is try to help somebody find somebody who's old enough to have found something of themselves. If you build a relationship with someone that's trying to discover themselves, then when you get deep in that relationship and you try to make them be mature in who they're not, they're gonna say, well, you accept me who at this at the beginning. That's why it's most important that if you're gonna get married, put everything on the table. Don't go into that marital relationship with anything that you cannot live with. Put everything on the table. Don't wait until you get married and then expect that person to discipline themselves with something that you let them get away with while you were dating.
Wait. Give me an example. Don't what?
Don't let them get away with something that you could. We start dating. You say you're gonna come by and pick me up at 8:00. It's 9:00, and you still ain't here. You don't call. You don't say anything. So you come at 9:00 with one flower and that's dead. And you say, I'm sorry and I apologize. I didn't mean to come this late and stuff. I just lost the track of time. Well, then the best thing to do is the best discipline you can do with that person is then let's make this another day when you can respect our time and stuff. Because I'm not coming to be a late date for you and you think it's okay. And then later when you make me late to everything else after we got married and I try to make you be early, I realize I built this monster with you. So I'm not going to accept 9:00 when you said 8:00. And I don't care how many flowers you come with, it still doesn't make up for it when you should have called me. You should at least said something. You should have honored the time that I gave you at 7 o'clock or at 8 o'clock when you said you were coming by.
You know, another thing too, other areas of emotional blackmail you can look at is, especially with people who are in relationship, husband and wives or dating relationships, whereas one will withhold loving kindness
Yeah,
until they do until you do
Absolutely.
what I want you to do.
absolutely.
I'm going to be cold to you. All of a sudden, I'm going to be ice cold. Where I was warm and tender and laughing and joking, I'm ice cold to you now because I'm trying to manipulate you to do what I want you to do.
Wow.
Or I'm trying to let you know I'm upset because you didn't do what I want you to do. I'm upset because you didn't go out there and fill my car up with gas. So I'm going to do some emotional blackmail here.
I'm upset with
I'm
you,
gonna
but
keep
you
right
want
on
debt and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep right on being that way until you melt and do what I want you to do.
Wow.
Another
Wow.
emotional blackmail is where you have opened up. You know, they like the person you was talking about, they digging and wanting to know the information. Information is power. All of a sudden, now they know something about you that could hurt you, damage you emotionally. And so you begin to jump through loops to stay in a friendship with them so they don't share that information that
Wow.
you gave them. Emotional blackmail.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it's looking like my Wi-Fi is. It looks like Xfinity keeps jumping into. I don't know what's going on, and it may be because this topic is so powerful. I don't know. So it's going in and out, but we're gonna keep on rolling. All right. So
Yes.
what about the guilt trips?
Yeah.
Guilt trips.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
person who's always making me feel guilty. Are they a manipulator?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I keep saying one of the best things that a relationship can do is go on.
Yeah.
Where we don't hang around a whole lot of things that we should have dealt with or that we should have forgiven over and stuff. But you find some spouses that linger back in your past, or things you've done to them, things that they didn't like, or things that offended them and stuff. And so that when they make a mistake or when they do something and they don't want to take responsibility for it, they remind you what you did.
Yeah.
Well, you ain't no better than I did. You ain't no better than me. And stuff. You did such and such thing. That's a manipulation, because we always need to take responsibility, especially in any kind of relationship or connection. I need to take responsibility for what I do as an offense against our relationship. I can, if I do something, if I go spend some money, you know, we got a budget, and I go spend some money, and I bust that budget and stuff, and I come home, and you look at me, you said, look, you done went and bought that and stuff. You know we couldn't afford that this month and stuff. And I look at you and I said, well, you bought four or five pair of shoes last month, and I didn't say anything about it. And so you shouldn't say anything. No, we shouldn't use those kind of tactics to manipulate someone to put both of us in trouble, or at least our finances or our home in trouble. Manipulators don't care about the outcome or consequences. They just care about getting away with what they want to get away with.
And also, emotional guilt is where you have set yourself up as the victim.
Yeah,
I'm the victim and you're guilty.
absolutely.
That's
And
good.
so what you're going to do is always try to bring that about so that they can cater to the pain or the problems that they so-called caused you.
That's the key thing you were saying too, huh?
Yeah, that guilt, they'll play that guilt thing.
That pain.
You did it, and you were honestly guilty, and I'm the victim. And guess what? Now you're gonna really cater to me.
You're gonna pay for that.
You're gonna pay for
That's
that.
good. That's some good stuff. Listen, I hope that we are helping them tonight. It's been a long time since I had a problem with this Wi-Fi, so I just know this must be good tonight. It must be good tonight. Okay, so people who give others the solid treatment, are you trying to manipulate me?
Yes.
Look.
You know, they said a word one time. You're speaking loud, but you're saying nothing.
Right. Well, let me give you one that I did. That I did.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he said that I did.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
When we first and you know, sometimes I find myself still acting up.
We both do.
If I say something to her and she's not paying attention and stuff, or like say we're riding down the road, right? And I said, "Oh, honey, look at that," and she don't say nothing. I said, "Did you see what I was saying?" I said, "Did you look at that?" She said, "What?" And then we're going past, and I don't see it now. So I'm thinking, okay, you wait till we go past something she wants me to see. Wait, and I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm hoping. I'm praying to the Lord. Boy, I hope she bring up something that she want me to
You're
like.
just hoping and waiting.
I'm hoping against hope. And she'll bring, and just so happens something will come up and she'll try to call my attention to it. I'm done. Ain't paying no attention. She said, "You hear what we said?" And she'll ask me, "Did you hear what I just said?" I said, "Did you hear what I just said when I was talking back there?"
Mhm.
Manipulate. He tried to manipulate you with the solid treatment.
Yes.
Another way people do silent treatment is, let's say if him and I have a conversation, or me and my friend have a conversation, or whoever have a conversation, and it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to turn out. So I get to the point where I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to put up walls. I'm not going to say
Wow.
anything. I'm doing that because I want him to chase me.
Absolutely.
I want him to find out what's wrong with me.
Right.
What's going on with me? And when I get him to that place,
Making me feel like,
making you feel like that you have to come and chase me and find out what's wrong with me and then solve my problem.
Absolutely.
So that's what solid treatment sometimes is where they want the person to actually chase them, manipulate them enough
Absolutely.
to chase them and find out what the problem is and try to solve the problem because
good.
I'm upset.
Absolutely.
And even in sometimes solid treatment, you'll find that passive aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna slam these cabinets.
Absolutely.
I ain't gonna talk about it, but I'm slamming this door.
Yep.
You're gonna chase me to find out what the problem is.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be the chaser.
Absolutely.
Wow. She said you're going to be the chaser.
Yeah.
Okay. So does all this stuff go on in the body of Christ?
Oh yeah.
And if it goes on in the body of Christ, give us a scenario where or I'll say, give us a breakdown of how we can notice that it is. Well, go ahead with that, and then I'll let you know my other words. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
You know, one of the biggest things, and listen to me real good, church hurt is real for some people. But there are some people that's crying church hurt where there ain't no church hurt. They just didn't get their way. And now they want everybody to chase them and to pacify them and to give them some outward, to say, okay, I understand, I'm on your side, whatever, or else to let them do what they wanted to do. They come to this church, I was church hurt. That means we're going to have to handle you with kid gloves so that you won't get no church hurt from here, and we just let you have your way. But, if you're not discerning. But, and church hurt is real, but not everybody crying church hurt is church hurt.
But we have to learn when we're dealing with people who manipulate.
That is
we have to make them, we have to confront them with this fact. Do you want this solved?
Yeah.
If every piece of your life is full of a victim behavior against you,
mentality,
when are you ever going to stop enough to get healed?
Yeah.
Now, those who are manipulated with feelings never want to be healed. They want to go. The only time, if a person who's a manipulator is always a victim of something, the only way they'll be healed or like to heal, you give them position, you let them have some authority. You're on the side of whatever they say against the person that says to hurt them.
Yes.
You never question what you've done to make yourself better. You never question what you've done to make yourself better. You never make them take responsibility for the things they do after they claim they've been hurt.
Now, the big question is, like what Jesus asked the man by the pool, will thou be made whole?
Because
if they don't want to be made whole, then they're holding on to that power of manipulation.
And one of the key things is, look, now, I understand you've been hurt, and I understand some people have done some things to you, but answer me this question. What has that person, what has that church, what has that pastor, what has that member, what has that other person done to you based on what you said you've been done to? Because I believe somewhere down this line, we should learn some lessons from our own pain. If you continue to exercise pain against another person, it's not that you're as hurt as you claim you did. You just need an excuse to hurt other people. They're just church people that they want an excuse to be nasty. They want an excuse to be put. They want an excuse. I want to leave this church anyway, and the only way I can leave this church is if I can lie about my feelings.
Or they want to be chased, or they want to get all everything. They want whatever they want.
I told a pastor one time. A pastor came to me and said, Apostle said, a member left my church and stuff, and they got mad because I didn't go after them. And I said, listen, Bishop, I said, do this. If they leave as a goat, you can't chase them like you're the pastor.
Like a sheep,
like you can't chase them like a sheep. If a goat leaves as a goat, you got to let them leave. If they leave as a sheep, you go after. That's when the scripture says, If one leave, you leave the 99, go after that's
As
the
a
sheep.
sheep.
But if a goat leave, you have to let them leave as a goat, because if you go after them like they're sheep, all they're gonna do is kick you. There's things
That's
there are
good.
people that are manipulators and they're nothing but goats, and all they will do is kick you. And that's from relationship to churches. All they'll do is kick you.
That's good. Okay, so now flip it over to a pastor who may be trying to hold on to a sheep. Flip it and explain something
Right.
like that.
One of the things we say in our church, and the Lord kind of got on us about this, because we sometimes, when people, they'll act like they're sheep and stuff, and sometimes we can be so naive and not caring. I'm not saying we shouldn't always care about people, but you got to care enough about people to let them go where they care the most about.
Yeah.
And so what we do, have the pastors have to do, is learn when your assignment is over with that person. And sometimes it doesn't mean because God has released them, sometimes because they release themselves.
Yeah. We look and we teach about John the Baptist and Jesus. When Jesus was baptized, when John had baptized Jesus, and then there came a time when some of the disciples that was with John left John and began to follow Jesus. John knew it was time for them to go. He didn't say, no, stay with me. He knew that those particular ones was the time for them to follow Jesus. And that's when we have to realize that season for them to stay is over, and it's time for them to go to the next level.
And the reality also is, even if their season isn't over, if they decide to go, one of the key things we have to look at, if my voice and my ministry no longer means anything to you, then there's nothing I can do with you while you're here. So the best job for me to do is, even if it's not season time, I don't need to prophesy and remind you that it's not time.
No.
I need to let you go so you can experience that you're going, and I won't give you anything that you can run to other people and say, oh, they try to manipulate me to stay here. No, you have a free will. If it's time for you to go, I will let you go. But here's what I also need you to understand, that if you decide to come back after you realize that there's some lessons and maturity that you must exercise as you're a part of this ministry. You can't just come back and then expect to take over like you did, because you left like you had nothing. Yeah. So you're going to have to come back to show that you're going to get something.
That part right there. All right. So again, we have hit our time. And it seemed like once we get started, like, where did time go?
Yeah.
So as I do all of my guests, I want you to take my platform and I want you to speak to those manipulators who play mind games in the church. Those people who play mind games or manipulate people just to gain power over someone else, or to gain power over the situation, or to gain power over leadership. I know that was power pack, but I want you to speak to those individuals. I'm going to give you my platform, and because I know each one of you has something different to say. So just go ahead and just take turns.
Great, baby.
Well, if I would say anything, is to understand that people don't belong to you.
Absolutely.
Even when Jesus was talking about those, he said, everyone that the Father gave me, I have kept.
Absolutely.
But he understood that they still belong to the Father. So when we come to the understanding that people, their lives, the things that they do, they don't belong to us, we'll be better supports, we'll be better friends, and we'll be better Christians.
Absolutely. Pastor, control and manipulation is all about disrespect.
It is.
When I think I have to control you, is because I don't respect what you got in you.
Yeah.
I don't respect, I don't honor it and stuff. And I think that I always think as a manipulator, if I'm a manipulator, I always think that what I have to offer and what you should do should always come from me, because it's always better than yours. Manipulators and those who are manipulated need to understand that manipulator doesn't respect you. You don't honor anything or any value that you have. You have to pull yourself out from that kind of control and realize that you have a choice, you have some value, you have some wisdom, and you have some go-get-its.
And can I say, and you'll never get to where God is leading you as long as you're allowing a manipulator to lead you.
Absolutely. And the key is that, is Pastor Flowers, as long as a manipulator have you doing what they want you to do, you will always live their dream and not yours.
Yes.
So sometimes we find ourselves empty and being manipulated and wonder why we feel so empty. The reason why we feel so empty, because you're living another man or woman's dream. You're living another man's will. You're living another man's force. And so manipulators, I would say to you, get yourself out of the way. because throughout somewhere in this path, you're gonna find yourself facing God. Those who are being manipulated, you need to get yourself outside of their control, because you'll never meet the God of your vision, of your purpose, as long as you live in what they want you to live. So break that yoke.
Break the yoke.
Amen.
All right, beautiful. And again, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought that this was awesome. Now, I do want to say, I don't know whether it's because of the stars. I have no idea what's going on, but it looks like some kind of way we're still alive, but it looks like we got booted out.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this segment and I'm going to just place it to Facebook. Like I said, it's my first time using the StreamYard along with the stars.
Okay.
So I'm unsure exactly how that works. I don't know. I didn't it's just all, I woke up one morning and Facebook just allowed me to have stars. So maybe I need to do some research and see how that works. Am I going to be able to use StreamYard? Because that's the first time I ever had a problem with the comments and all. I got to try to figure out what's going on. All right. So
if we could say thank you so much for allowing us to be on this platform. We do appreciate it. We don't take it lightly. We honor it. Thank you so much.
No
we appreciate the program on here or not. And thank you so much for allowing us.
Listen, as long as you guys don't mind, I'll reach out. As long as y'all rock with me, I'm gonna rock with y'all. Like I said, I normally bring other leaders on, and they're all Apostle, you already know. So each time I do that, I'll still reach out to you guys and see if you're free. If you're not, that's fine. But I'm super excited. Thank you everyone for viewing. We do apologize. Not sure what happened. So until next time, we'll do next Tuesday. You guys have an amazing evening and do it on purpose. And also, Apostle, I'm going to reach out to you guys because I got a project that I'm working on with the House of Pride. We're feeding the homeless and so just go through my page and take a look at it. But I'm gonna reach out to your church, all right?
Okay.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you too. Love you too.